Hey, what's up guys, it's Trainer Clayton here, and today I'm going to be covering my team that I placed 10th with at San Jose Regionals. So, yeah, I did sadly bubble out of top 8, going 10th place, but I am still very confident in my team, except for like one or two moves, or like Mudsdale I didn't really use. But yeah, I'm going to be doing the quick overview, and then I did take second at the Premier Challenge the day after. So, there's 14 points, and then we didn't have enough for top 16 to get points in the main event, so sadly I only got 14 points for the whole weekend. Anyway, we started off with Tapu Lele. Now, I really wanted to use Tapu Lele because I felt like it had a really strong position in the meta if you could counter Celesteela, and there were a lot of checks and counters that I wanted to bring to beat Celesteela. So, originally I had Life Orb on it, and I had the Waterium Z on my Araquanid, but I changed up the item on my Araquanid and put the Psychium Z on my Tapu Lele because it does so much damage, and it does Oko Torkoal out of terrain. I already did a review on this Pokemon, but it has the ability Psychic Search, which brings up Psychic Terrain, which, oh my god, it's so good. And then its moveset, Moonblast, pretty straightforward, just really good stab, and 30% chance to lower their special attack, which is nice. Psychic for stab, and it just does so much in Psychic Terrain. Thunderbolt mostly to deal with opposing Celesteelas, and Protect just because it's a staple move. Going over the EV spread in nature, I made it modest just because I really didn't think that I needed mine to be fast. Fast Tapu Lele is really weird, and since its bulk is so low, bar special defense, I felt like I needed to invest more in its bulk more than its speed and offensive pressure. It still does put on quite a bit of pressure offensively, although it's just able to take a couple more hits. And yeah, modest nature is pretty straightforward, no timid, because its speed, it's okay. I just didn't really think it needed buffing. And then the 4 defense, because special defense is already relatively high, so I just put some a little bit in defense. So next up, we have our next team member, Arcanine. I originally had a Alolan Marowak here, but I was having a lot of trouble with physical attackers because my team's really physically weak aside from Mudsdale. So I wanted an Intimidate user, and I felt like Arcanine filled the slot perfectly. It's also a fairly bulky Pokemon. It has a lot of natural bulk, plus the Intimidate ability. Paired with Snarl, it's just so good. I made it have Citrus Berry, since it's usually living at least one hit, so if it does take over half, it'll heal some back with Citrus Berry. Say -1 liquidation from Gyarados. If it's able to take one, then it'll heal with Citrus Berry. It'll go above half health and be able to take one again, possibly, but it's a damage roll. Its moveset Protect, Flamethrower, Snarl, and Will-O-Wisp. Protect is stable. Will-O-Wisp was interesting. I didn't really find myself burning too many Pokemon. I barely found myself bringing Arcanine at all. However, when I did bring it, it did serve its purpose. Flamethrower for stab, and Snarl just to lower their special attack, which actually came through quite a bit whenever I did bring Arcanine. The spread, I made it bold, just so I can take more physical hits, since the rest of my team had quite good special defense. Tapu Lele has a very high pretty good special defense. Araquanid's special defense is very high. Xurkitree and Pelipper are going to outspeed everything and KO it, in like Tailwind and stuff from Pelipper. And Mudsdale, it's Assault Vested, so. I wanted to put a little bit in special attack, but not too much, so, and then I just threw the rest in special defense, because I didn't really want to be outspeeding anything. I still wanted to have nice special defense. Max HP, just because, yeah, I guess it's kind of a staple when it comes to bulkier mons. But yeah, pretty standard Arcanine in my opinion, although the Snarl Intimidate combo is really helpful. So, I guess that was one of my Celesteela counters, being able to Flamethrower, but some did carry Rock Slide, like Leech Seed, Protect, Rock Slide, and Heavy Slam. I didn't run into any of them, but people were talking about it, just saying, oh, that might be a thing. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just bring Xurkitree, because Xurkitree just destroys everything. Oh, why did I put a Choice Band? I meant to put Choice Scarf, my bad. Yeah, Scarf Xurkitree is freaking amazing. Yeah. It outspeeds so many things. It is able to knock him out with its great coverage moves: Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Energy Ball, Hidden Power Ice. Oko's Gastrodons, Oko's Garchomps, and Salamances with Beast Boost Up. It just does so much damage. Like, you can get a quick knockout, get a beast boost, and then it's just pretty much unstoppable. It's outspeeding everything. It's killing everything in one shot. It's just so good. And it's just a glass cannon, so I really didn't invest anything in its bulk. I did special attack and speed, timid nature, and just a little bit of HP because its defenses are equally bad, so I figured I'd just put some in its HP. So yeah, Hidden Power Ice is for dragons running around everywhere and ground types. However, Energy Ball serves the job better. There's no Tapu Bulu Grassy Terrain to back it up, but if I do, I actually found myself not bringing Lele against opposing Bulus. So I could just trust myself in an Energy Ball and just hit everything really, really hard in Grassy Terrain. So, yeah. Next up is Pelipper. I wanted to have some weather support, and I felt Pelipper filled the slot very, very well, considering I did not really want to bring a Gigalith, just because the way the rest of my team was composed. Pelipper has the ability Drizzle, brings up Rain. I put it Focus Sash, that way I can set up Tailwind, which will double my speed. And there's actually a really important calc on my Eevee spread. Hurricane is Scald, the main stab moves, and then Protect. Hurricane always hits in rain. And Scald has a 30% chance to burn, and then it thaws the target if it's frozen. So, yeah. Looking at its spread, 252 HP, 132 modest attack, and 124 speed. Now, this 124 is actually really good to know and have, because in Tailwind, this outspeeds Timid Max Speed Tapu Koko without Scarf. Because Timid Max Speed Tapu Koko is base 135, so Timid Max is 200, and if you double this is 202. So it does outspeed in Tailwind. So you have the Focus Sash set up the Tailwind turn 1, and then do Scald in the rain for a whole bunch of damage. So yeah, and then the 132 attack was basically just a throw and just put all the rest in that, and it should be okay. And then give it Modest, of course. And it's really good. See, I did use Pelipper in pretty much all my matches. I never really led with it just because a lot of the other teams had opposing weathers. So yeah, anyway, pretty straightforward Pelipper. Being able to outspeed Tapu Koko and Tailwind, hit it with a Scald is really nice. And them taking Life Orb damage, proving that they're not Sash, and just being able to OHKO them, because they're so frail. Anyway. I used Araquanid. This is what I originally had Water MZ on. And I was like, okay, how am I going to meet Torkoal Lilligant? Because they can just Sleep Powder turn 1, because they're faster than Choice Scarf Xurkitree in Sun. So, like, I guess I could just switch in Pelipper and, like, have Araquanid there, but that's not going to stop them from Sleep Powdering my Araquanid. So I put Safety Goggles on there. And that way I can just take everything. And it also helps with Sand and Hail. Not taking the residual damage from that. And being able to sustain myself with Leech Life. But yeah, Safety Goggles. Being able to... I never faced Torkoal Lilligant, but I felt like it was worth it. And being able to have like a knockoff target whenever I faced an Alolan Muck. They would knock off my Araquanid to see what I had. And it would just be Safety Goggles. They're like, oh, okay. Because they didn't really have any powder moves or hail or Sandstorm. Water Bubble is his ability... doubles water power, can't be burned, and fire power against it is half. This Pokemon like Alolan Marowak can't really do too much to it, although it is a physical attack, so. Liquidation and Leech Life were my stab moves. Liquidation does so much damage, and that 20% chance to lower its defense by 1 is actually really good, because what you can do is Liquidation, if you get the defense drop, you can just Leech Life and sustain yourself. Just do so much damage, because it did get a buff. Poison Jab is mainly for Tapu Bulu and other fairy types. It does a lot of damage. However, since its attack is relatively low and Water Bubble only boosts water, it doesn't do too much, so you kind of have to get a poison, and that's how you do more damage. And then Protect, just because Protect is Protect. And then pretty basic spread, Adamant, max attack, max HP, and then throw into defense, because that's weaker than a special defense. And I put Mudsdale last, because this is literally the last Pokemon I wanted on my team. I don't know why I didn't put on Garchomp. I guess I just thought Hail would be too good, and there would be Hail teams everywhere, because Ninetales was, like, wrecking me on Battle Spot. So I'm like, okay, I'll just put a Solvus Mudsdale. I mean, it seems pretty good, but it's so slow, and I didn't have any way to really buff it, because it would only be 110 speed and Tailwind, which still gets outsped by so much stuff. Although the meta is relatively slow, I was never really able to bring this successfully without it getting knocked out in, like, 1 or 2 turns. So if I would have brought Garchomp, I would have done better. and I do kind of regret bringing Mudsdale. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really fun to use. I only brought it like one match, and I was able to kind of wreck house with it, but like other than that, it just got OHKO'd every time I brought it. So it was just weird. Like I only brought it one time successfully. On all the other times I even tried to bring it, it just got destroyed. So yeah. If I were to replace it with Garchomp, going back, I probably would, just because Garchomp can do much more damage and it has better speed, and basically same all around stats. I don't know about the defenses, but the HP is pretty high. Speed is higher than Mudsdale, so it'll outspeed a lot of things in Tailwind. It was just kind of a last second decision. I have a battle ready Garchomp in my box, so I don't know why I didn't bring it, but I don't know. But yeah, basically how my matchups went. Let me clear this real quick. Round one, I played against quite a newer player. That was his first regional, and he had a dual weather team with Ninetales, Alola, I believe Marowak, Torkoal, Flygon, Tapu Lele, and I don't remember his sixth Pokemon. It might have, yeah, I think it was Sandslash Alola. So game one, I took a 4-0 on him because I was able to conserve my Tapu Lele and just sweep in the end, being able to OHKO everything, and I was just able to counter his weather and just able to beat everything out. And then game two, it was a 3-0 for me, since he knocked out one of my Pokemon, and he used Guardian of Alola from his Tapu Lele, and I did not know what the heck that did for the life of me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to die to this, and then I'll just concede and go to game three. But I didn't know that it did a fixed 75%, so I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll take that and then Moonblast for the knockout. So, yeah, as you can see, newer player. I'm not going to say it was an easy win, because by no means was it easy. I did still have to actually play it out. But, yeah, he ended up going 3-2. I'm in seniors division, so, yeah. We both ended up going 3-2. So, yeah, and then round two, I'm 1-0. I play against someone who's also 1-0, also his first regional. He actually ended up getting top 4. And so what happened was game one, he had Magnezone, Muck, and other Pokemon. I can't remember their teams, but he had Magnezone. I didn't really classify it as a threat, so I was just kind of attacking the Pokemon around it. And then he set up a sub. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to beat this because I have Tapu Lele and I have Xurkitree and I can't touch it. So, or I had like Tapu Lele and I had Araquanid. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And he kills my Tapu Lele, Araquanid breaks his sub, and my Tailwind peters out, and he Thunderbolts my Araquanid and kills it. So, yeah, I lost game one. Game two, I played pretty much perfectly. I didn't really make a misplay at all, and I just outplayed my opponent, reading his protects, and being able to make the correct switch ends, and just set up my board, and set up my field, and just able to take over the entire game from there. I'm sorry, I gotta get a drink. So yeah. Excuse me. So that's 1-1 in the match. And then game three, I was in a winning position, and then he had a Gastrodon, and his Gastrodon used Ice Beam on my Pelipper and froze it. And it didn't thaw out for the rest of the game until he knocked out all my Pokemon, and I lost. So, that 10% chance to freeze my Pelipper, he hit it, and it stayed there for the longest time, and it felt so bad. And I was like, oh my god, I just lost. I had the opportunity to be 2-0, but Hacks blew it for me. So, RNG was not on my side that game, but I accept it. I accept the loss. I'm glad that he made top 4. He was really cool. I went to the lunch break with him. Yeah, he's definitely pretty cool and definitely a good player for his first regional. And I really don't care that I lost because my resistance was so bad anyways. Even if I won, I probably would have lost another game after that. So, yeah. Round 3, I was up against someone who was also in a rush to make his team. So he had all 4 of the Tapus, and he had Kartana, and he had Xurkitree. So I just led Xurkitree Arcanine both times, and I was able to get 4-0s both times because I would just like Volt Switch, Flamethrower, and bring up Pelipper, do a bunch of damage, and once my Pelipper got to low HP, I'd switch it out for Xurkitree, Protect, and then Volt Switch again, knock out everything, and just... It was kind of a mess, but I was able to clinch 4-0s both games, and that was a quick win. But, yeah, I believe it was his first regional, too. But he was a good player. He ended up going 2-3. And, yeah. Round 4, I played against someone who was 2-1, so we're both 2-1. And he ended up making top cut as well. So the two people that I lost to made top cut. And he ended up beating me 2-0 because he had weird sets. Like, he had Hyper Beam on his Xurkitree, which I completely didn't expect. I thought he was, like, scarfed into Thunderbolt or something. And then he just used Hyper Beam. So I'm like, well, bye, Mudsdale. And he had a couple Beast Boosts up. He had Nihilego, Focus Sash, and just able to wreck my entire team. So yeah, it was a pretty bad loss for me. And at that point, I was 2-2. And the guy that I lost to in round 2 was 3-1. And the other guy was 3-1. So I needed them both to win in order for me to have any chance at top 8. And I needed to win as well. So round 5, which is the final round, I was able to clinch a 2-0 win because I was just able to outplay my opponent. He had like Decidueye, Tapu Koko. God, I can't remember the teams. But yeah, it was still a pretty good win for me. I was 3-2, and I was just waiting for the announcement. And the guy that I lost to in round 4 happened to lose again, so he was 3-2. And then the other guy that I lost to in round 2 was 4-1. So basically, my chance at top 8 was out. So I bubbled 10th because of resistance. And I mean, I'm still happy I got 9 packs, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, all in all, that was my San Jose tournament experience. It was really, really fun. I did use the same team in the Premier Challenge, and I did get second. I'm not really going to go over my matches since there was only 3 rounds. I'll just give a brief overview. Round 1, I won off timer, which really sucked for my opponent, and I felt really bad because they would have won if the timer wasn't called. Round 2, I just won 2-0. I outplayed my opponent, and round 3, I lost because my opponent outplayed me. So, yeah, all in all, a very good time. I really enjoyed myself hanging out with all my friends. Shout out to Kalea, Alex, Josh, and Ben. We were hanging out pretty much the whole time. It was just a blast, and also got to hang out with my friend Anthony. Yeah, we had a blast. So much fun, and fairly well organized event. The VG section did start a little late, but other than that, it was a really good event. The PC was great. I got $10 for getting second at the PC, which made up for the entry fee, and yeah, all in all, just a great time. So I will see you all at Anaheim Regionals President's Day weekend. So yeah, if you want to meet me up there, hit me up on Instagram at AceTrainerClayton. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, trainers.